and welcome back to the 2026 World Orienteering Championships. We've already had the sprint and the knockout sprint, where we've seen medals awarded, gold medals awarded to 4 different nations. But this championships will come to a finale with the sprint relay today. We're back in the heart of Genova here in Italy, and we're back in the heart of this kind of old town, small, narrow streets that's going to provide a big test for our orienteers today. As usual, sprint relay, it is teams of 4. We start off with the women, then we have the 2 men's legs, and we end with the 4th leg ring run by a woman as well. And there's only 1 team per nation, so there's been a lot of eyes already on the selections, who's been selected for what over these sprints. And it's going to be super interesting with all of the teams putting their eggs into one basket. When we have the World Cup, we have the European Championships. We also, we have multiple teams per nation, but this time they've only got 1 roll of the dice. Here we have this beautiful drone shot over what is very, very hot and warm streets here. We're in quite an open square right in front of the Doge's Palace. And like yesterday, it's 30 degrees, it's a light wind. You get some kind of cooling from this fountain that we have. This is right by the start here, a kind of beautiful place for the athletes to go and run out as they go into the tiny streets. It does get a little bit, or it feels a little bit cooler, certainly, but it's going to be a very, very physical test for the athletes today. And obviously we come to the conclusion they'll have had a few races in their legs, of course, especially if they got all the way through to yesterday's knockout sprint final. And yeah, it's very hilly in parts of today's course as well, so that's definitely going to prove a challenge. So here we have a look at the challenges, and actually the athletes, they only get told the estimated winning time of the leg. They don't get told the length, and they don't get told the climb. I think a lot of the athletes will have obviously been guessing where the course is going to go, but 155 meters of climb for the men is quite extraordinary, and Jonas is going to tell you where that climb comes.
Yeah, it's going to be all at once, basically. But we started, it's the same arena as yesterday, and it's very narrow in the city in the beginning, so it's going to be interesting, especially in the must start. Then at Control 2, we already do a part of the climb into a very nice park. And then here, after Control 3, the men's and the women's course are splitting up. And you can see that the men's course, they really have a steep uphill at one of the chairs, at the one of the stairs, up there to the top of the city, I would call it. Then downhill, you have to be careful because it's quite, you're out of breath once you're up the hill, and then you have to go down, and it's quite a trick. It's quite tricky stairs there, so you have to be careful. Then tricky orienteering back. There are no places with multi-level. There are no places that are controversial at any, in any matter. It's quite classical city orienteering, but it is tricky because everything looks the same. You have to keep focused. This is the park at Control 2 and 3. You have different route choices here. Well, this is kind of a multi-level part, but it's not as decisive as yesterday. So 68 meters or 77. I think it's just this one. I mean, you want to lose the race here. But it can be kind of a positioning game here. The quickest one, go up the stairs directly after Control 2 and then take this small bridge towards Control 3. And as I said before, right after this control, so already here you have done a couple of meters climbing up to this park, and then the men's course, they have another steep climb just after Control 3, and this is the women's course. So here you have a route choice to Control 4 with different options, and it is kind of the same game throughout the course. You can have different routes, different distances, but you have stairs as well in this, in the problem-solving part, and they can have quite an impact on the outcome. So this is 3, 4 then as well for the men's course.
And the course set, I think the red one is the best here.
Yeah, I think so too, because otherwise you do an additional amount of climbing, which will be, we're paying for that just at Control 5 then. Here, back into a small park. Here we have been yesterday already at the knockout sprint, so maybe something they can remember. Of course, they closed a couple of gates here, so it's not really the same as yesterday, then this is back
This is
again.
quite an interesting leg. There are lots of different options here that are quite equal.
Yeah. And we are going towards the finish here. So this is towards the second to last control. The second to last control then to the last control is basically just a straight line, so it's no orienteering left. So this is the last route choice where you can make a difference. And you can see on the route option here quite many tourists. There is the option to take the stairs in the middle, which I think is quite good because you can avoid the tourists and you do the climb on the stairs, which usually is quite a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they'll know that's part of the map from previous times. They'll kind of know the challenges in that particular part of the map. So here we have the start list. This is based on the results from 2 years ago in Edinburgh, where Switzerland took the win. So they are the defending champions. Finland, Norway, of course, are defending medalists. Then basically it's in the same orders here. And if you look much further down, then right at the bottom, near the bottom, we've got Denmark. Of course, they've had a lot of success with really strong women. And Sweden at number 32, that's because they were disqualified last time. Tova Alexanderson took the wrong control. So that means they start right at the back of the pack here. And here we can see the athletes then being kind of put out into position. And we're going to introduce our athletes with 1 minute to go. So Natalia Gempela, yet again, will lead off the Swiss team. Certainly look about Simona Abesolda on the last leg. Natalia Gempela has not had the best season, but can they bring it back here? This is the same team, this Finnish team that was third in the World Cup in Sweden just a month ago, so look out for them. The Norway team, though, Norway possibly the favourites for this race. They've won 3 out of the last 4 sprint relays. The new knockout sprint world champion Teresa Roturier will lead off the Czech team. They were second in that World Cup in Sweden. And watch out for France as well. Mel Bovir had a collision in Sweden, and it was tricky for her. You know, that French team has got a lot of potential, but maybe we'll talk about the team selection a little bit later on. Watch out for Hungary as well, particularly their men, very, very strong in their men's team. And of course we can introduce Great Britain and Austria as well, but we've only got 10 seconds now till the start. They hold their maps in their hand. They do not know the course yet, and they're going to open their map and have quite a long run out to the start. There they go. And everybody out of the start. Oh, a little fall there maybe from one of the Estonians? I'm not sure, and they're going to run out here. We can see Czechia, Finland, Norway right at the top here, and I'm sure for Sweden, Hanna Lundberg is going to be fighting her way through the crowd as quickly as she can to get towards the front. Where was she there?
Yeah, she was there. And actually it's kind of, I mean, it's a bit of a difficult situation because they started, well, they have the latest row in the starting field,
Yeah.
and we saw how narrow it is, so it's good to actually get a better position just before the start point, or at least before you head into these small passages between the buildings.
Yeah, so they're all going in the same way here. Going down this alleyway. There's loads of options that you can take actually to the first couple of controls, which is gaffled, it is forked, but it's pretty much, you know, it's fairly straightforward to do this way. You could have gone down an earlier alleyway, you could go a little bit later if you wanted to.
You can see
but
here.
they're on a good route here.
Actually, yeah, but it's not the quickest one because you have this turn here, but it's not surprising that everyone is taking the same route just out of the start point, but in my opinion the red one or then the blue one would have been better.
What they won't know though is that how close the first 2 controls are. They might guess that, and knowing they're all together they might even think they've all got the same one, but of course they've got to be careful here to make sure they do get the right control. There'll be a difference here. They're going to go around with all of the and some of them are going to split off to the right then, some of them will keep going.
Here you can see how they split up just before control 1, A and B option.
Oh, there's a mistake, I think, there.
Yeah.
Because you come to the end of the alleyway and you turn right, and then half of the group will have this control here, the other half will have a control an alleyway further to the north.
And after this first control, it's quite an easy route. I mean, you have different options. You could go to the left, but I think it's a good thing to keep to the right and take the stairs up towards the park. We have been talking a lot about stairs here, usually, and how they can slow you down. Usually they are slowing you down quite a lot if you're taking them in downhills, but in uphills they're actually quite good to take. So I think here to take the right one, even though there are a couple of stairs there, I mean they're both, but it's 100 meters shorter. You should take the one to the right. And it is quite a tough uphill here already. You're quite exposed to the sun as well. It's going to be hot. And I thought about that. I mean, usually we have differences in the physicality after like 10 minutes of running, because first 10 minutes, many of the runners, they can keep together. And then after like 10 minutes, the runners that are a bit, well, less world class maybe just in their running, they start to drop behind a little bit. And if you have a climb like this, it could happen a bit earlier already, because you have to go and touch the limit already physically in those uphills. So
these are those stairs then. You can see what they're like. They're fairly flat, like it's not too, then they're fairly deep as well.
You can have a normal running step.
Yeah, you don't have to watch too much where you're going, but still, it's the amount of uphill that is the difficulty.
Then up here, you have two different possibilities. You can go into the park, just the first gate, or you can go down to the right again and then go in a little bit later. Actually, here in the terrain, there is a building area as well, which is not on the map if you go to the right, but I still think it's a good thing to drop down again and go to the right. This is the control.
This is the second control, the one they're heading to here. Then they can either go down the steps or go kind of up and across. It's like everybody's kind of staying outside here. This is where we've got that kind of construction right on that corner of the building where France is now. Hungary going maybe inside. We'll see whether they're able to take a couple of places there. You can see just going around the corner here.
And there you can see the sign for the building space, so they have to run around it, but it's just a couple of meters.
And here we go, this is the lead. This looks like Hedvig Lauding Gudesen from Denmark. Then we've got Sweden. Then we've got Switzerland with Nalia Gempelo. One of them is climbing.
By Norway.
Yep. That is Victoria Hesa Bjornstad here coming up through. That's a good route. And Teresa Roturier, they can run through the next control quite easily. There's actually two kites here at this next control, which is quite good, I think, when you're going to have a lot of athletes all punching there together. Here we go. And so we have Norway in the lead, followed by Czechia with Denmark here, and Sweden and Switzerland. Portugal doing a fantastic job up there. And now loads and loads of teams coming through.
And you could see how one of the routes was about 2 or 3 seconds quicker. Change in the lead just from control 2 to 3 on those 10 seconds of running, or 15 seconds.
Watch out for the Australians. They've got some really, really speedy men in their team. So we'll see what they can do, of course, with Cooper Hawley making the final in the knockouts. Poland, quite far down actually. That's quite a surprise for me. And yeah, this is dropping right down the slope here. It's quite easy to see the entrance to this control, and the fastest route is to go left here around, which I think you can see there. There's the blue of Hannah Lundberg, I think.
And then I think it's Natalia Kemple in second, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Czech and Norway actually going a little bit further here.
Italy having a good start here.
Yeah, really strong work from Katarina Dallara. And then a change. Ooh.
Different options.
So some athletes going back. Yeah, there's basically two options here. You've either got to go turn back. And this is, I think, a good route here from this lot. This is the... No, this isn't the Greta route. As they basically go back on themselves, and they've got to go down these steps and then down a really steep staircase, and it is further, I think, as well. Be really interesting to see. It's like the downhill running technique is so important as well.
They have a couple of meters more to take.
And these steps as well. So, and then they've got to climb back up to the control. So we'll see who gets to the next control first, whether this group who've gone this down route are going to lose some time or not.
So distance-wise, they're very, very similar. It's just 5 meters difference. But of course, they have to climb a bit more if they back out and then run up again. Might not have an effect very much on the running time in this control, but it's you don't save any energy. And you can continue in running direction if you come the blue line.
So maybe this is good for Sweden and Denmark here. This is quite an interesting and decisive route choice here. And Sweden and Denmark obviously can just continue. Here they are, Sweden and Denmark, and we've got some of the other athletes running up there. But we have Norway and Switzerland all back together pretty much here. And there is Czechia. So a lot of our favourites here in amongst the top athletes. Not got Finland here yet. And great work still from Portugal. Filipe Rodrigues doing a good job here. Now they cut down into a garage. This garage has been opened up specifically for this race, and they kind of go down and back underneath.
And it's a private garage, so it's not a public garage or anything. It's from some
rich people,
rich
apparently.
People.
That's what the
I
course
wanted to find
says.
a nicer word for it, but yeah.
No, we'll go with the wording of
with
the
the
course
information
setter.
we got.
Yeah, exactly. So Denmark in the lead here. We've still got Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, Czechia, and Portugal in the mix here. There too is France. We haven't seen Melbo Veer, and a little bit of a gap there. So a lot of our favourites aside from Finland, I think, in this group here. But a surprise to see Portugal doing a fantastic job. Filipe Rodrigues must have done the climb really, really well. Okay, so they're on their way to the next control here, and then they've got a forking. Here's Hungary. Don't forget them. We've also got Finland just coming up in the rear as well. I think that is that Smelikova from Slovakia, I think, with a really good start for her. And now this is a very, very wide forking here, whichever control you have got. And then a couple more controls. So if you've got C or D, obviously a very wide forking and loads of barriers here as well. Yeah, it's quite tricky to see.
You have different forkings and a lot of micro route choices where you can go differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you've got the GPS is going to struggle in they're really tall buildings. It's actually really quite dark in some of these alleyways as well. But we're behind Hungary then on the northern section in this grid, and we've got to watch out, see if we can try and spot any mistakes here, because this is really, it's really tricky here. And back onto the main street. She will dip into the next alleyway. We might be able to see, no, not quite see any of the others ahead. Finland's taken a different route choice, as you can see there, to C. Seems to be no problems for the group who've got the D control. That's C7 there, with Podlaga Chaco here. The 9th control is where we'll get the next time check.
And you can see that France is still in a very good position. Melbo Veer, you've named it before a bit. I mean, France, I thought they would pick their team differently after the big success by Guillaume Verreau, who isn't in the team. We have Mathias Barros-Valle and Adrien Dulaine. I mean, after yesterday, you could also pick Mathieu Perrin or Guillaume Verreau.
Okay, here we have the leaders through this control. Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Portugal still there, Switzerland, France, Slovakia. Great work there again from Smelikova. Czech, Hungary, and Japan in 10th place. Kaho Kondo, who's been to a fair few World Championships, is into 10th place ahead of Austria. Then we've got Italy into 12th position alongside Turkey. This looks like New Zealand's Laura Robertson coming through here, and Finland. Look at Finland there, 27 seconds down. That's a surprise. Finland will rank amongst our favourite teams. They've got Akseli Ruohola, the silver medalist from yesterday. They've got Thomas Heikkilä on the 3rd leg as well. And then we're all chopping and changing here as the athletes come through to the next few controls. Some of them will have this control right here. It's another forking. And others will have another control. They've got to take the next left. So these controls really very close together, and then they're soon going to cross this street in the dark colour. Is a quite busy tourist street. they've got to be really careful. No arena passage actually in this sprint relay, which is very, very unusual. I don't know whether they'll get any information when they cross this big street about where, you know, I mean, well, it's fairly obvious this group is in the leading pack. And then, of course, they're going back into the area from yesterday.
Yeah, so when they cross the street here, they're basically where they have been in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, and you've got to be careful here. You've either got the first or the second control. But you've just got to keep on your map reading. And actually not many barriers in this section. There's enough of different route choices as it is.
There are a couple of barriers. Then later at this open place, it's Plaza, Piazza. They're around 13.
So it looks like Sweden ahead, then Denmark, then Norway, then Slovakia, from what I can see. Looking ahead, trying to look past Smalikova's shoulders to see those ahead. This control is fairly straightforward, but the next one is where we have a route choice. I do still expect all the women to go in the same direction here. Are they going to go along the flat? Czechia's in there as well. Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, and Portugal still, and now a little bit of a gap. So 9 teams and a gap. Look at the gap back to Finland as well. We need to be keeping an eye on that. Japan still in 10th place, and they've all taken the route that I would have expected them to take here. That's Austria and Turkey.
We had the gap down to Finland, 27 seconds at the last TV control. It's more now. There she is, but she's hesitating. And it feels like she is losing physically as well, a little bit.
I wonder if she's injured here, because that doesn't look like very comfortable running. Right, so they're going up then towards the third to last control, all the same way, all very, very close together. This is really exciting to see. It's so tight here.
And actually, I'm very impressed by the performance of Maëlle Bovir. She does a great job here for the French team. And for me, it was a bit, this is was the decisive part for the French team, basically, because we know that they have really strong men, and then they have Cécile Galandry on the last leg as well. So they have a very, very strong team now.
So different routes here. Now taken to this next, oh no, maybe not. I think
there was one runner going to the other direction.
You don't really want to go that way. I think you want to go, Sweden's gone that way. I mean, they're all fairly similar in distance, apart from the red one, which is shorter, but you've got the stairs, and they're going to take the stairs.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it's quite a short stairs, 20 meters. Yeah, you can see it here. It costs so much.
So these are the stairs then going down towards control 14. You can see they often turning to the right here. And then that's the previous control. And we see the British team coming through there and the Polish team. Alexandra Hornick, I think, who's had a tricky chance. Here we go, Sweden ahead, it was good. The others are going to come from
they lose
the
quite
same
a lot
direction.
Of time.
Yeah, the stairs were slower. Goodison is at a different position there. And now they're going to come through into the changeover. And we can get ready to do the changeover here. Sweden in the lead now. Hanna Lundberg is going to hand over to Gustav Runefors. Denmark will come into second place. Going to hand over to Elias Hinga Krogsgaard. So Sweden in the lead. And only a few seconds later, here comes Denmark, and then we're going to have a big, big group coming here. Norway's going to hand over. There's Erik Langendal Breivik, then France, then Slovakia, then we have Switzerland, Portugal, Hungary, Czechia, all together. So 9 teams within 13 seconds. Really, really tight. I'm surprised. Am I surprised how? Yeah, I am surprised how tight that is.
Is there a mistake by Japan? I don't know, some hesitation
Great
here.
From Japan.
Yeah, but she could have been 6 seconds closer. Good job here by Turkey. Yeah, it's very close in the lead. I think it might open a bit gaps. It's so many turns, and you can't really run full speed at all the time. So I think this is one of the factors that makes it that close. At the same time, I think it's going to open up a little bit more once we have small gaps. And here's Finland, and there's more a minute. I wonder what's the problem here for Vera Klevettinen. She doesn't look that quick. Doesn't look injured.
Yeah, this is a big surprise for me that Finland is so far down. I mean, from their previous results, you definitely, I mean, they're the defending silver medalists. You definitely want to count them in amongst the mix. Okay, let's hear then from the team that came in second, from Hedvig Valbjørn Gudesen from Denmark.
And here with Hedvig Valbjørn Gudesen of Denmark into second place. You're dominating some of the first leg as well. What was your experience of the race?
My experience was that I had a really good race, except of the last control. I took a really bad route choice because, like you say, I've been in the front, also like number one in a lot of time. But today I thought it was a bit easier than the other days at the individual and the knockout. Not so tricky controls, and it was more like, okay, we have done this before.
And the chance for Denmark today?
Yeah, I think so, because we are now 4 really good runners in our team, and I believe if the boys also have the day, and Martin too, like I had, they can do it technical really good and also the physical part. So I believe in us today.
We'll see. Hedvig, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then out on the second leg.
And again, we got a masterclass in how to pronunciate her name.
But of course, loads of teams close together here. They really did split up to control number one. Oh, Norway and Hungary. No, I don't think they're going to go the other way, but obviously it's a good route out of 1B.
Then it's a mistake as well. I mean, they lose time here with this exit. Yeah,
Yes.
that was a bad exit. Maybe they changed their mind on the route choice. They thought that they would go to the left one and then took the other one anyway. So everyone close together again.
Yeah, I think even if you've got that northern control, you still want to head towards the right-hand side of the line. If anybody goes up the hill towards the left, they've lost. It's 100 meters longer. You've got to go down and up. Yeah, it's not a good one to go, but they've got to climb all the way up this hill here towards this park, which you can see under the trees. And yeah, everybody's going up here. So remember, we had a group of 9 teams with, of course, Sweden in the lead at the changeover, but 9 teams within 13 seconds. And most of our big names, aside from Finland, in that group. France still in contention.
And France is not only in contention, looks at if they are a couple of meters ahead. And Adrien Delaine, of course, I mean, now you can argue that he didn't go all the way in the knockout sprint yesterday, so he had a bit more rest. Might be a bit fresher than compared to other runners.
I don't think he even ran it yesterday.
Yeah. So that's maybe the thought behind. He did all of the competitions so far, including the qualifications. So
different route
yeah,
there.
That's better for Polsini.
It is for the Swiss athletes, but there's France and Switzerland there in the lead, both doing a good job on the climb. Mr. Execution getting it right.
And I was just about to say that. I mean, he's very quick in the small decisions in an old town, left, right. He's quick around the corners. We have seen that in Switzerland at the World Cup.
Yeah, there we go. And now Czechia in second, Norway in third. Where is France? He shouldn't be this far down. There he is. There's Delaine. Slovakia still up there. Denmark dropping back into 7th position. And Ferenc Jonas then from Hungary there as well. Still those same 9. The gap's grown a little bit. The order's changed a little bit.
And now we have a different control to control 4. It's not the same one as in the women's leg, and from 4 to 5, then the extra uphill.
And they should go leave this control from the north and keep going north here, yeah?
It is actually a route choice. You can go to the south and enter there as well. You have a bit less of stairs, but I don't think it matters too much. So Switzerland and Czechia going to the south around Norway, and more is Hungary, France,
Here we have
going
a look.
different.
Yep.
Yeah. So we can see it now, which one that was faster. We had Switzerland in the lead.
And Sweden and Denmark choosing to do a lot of climb there. That's
I don't
tough.
think it matters so much in this control, but you do extra climbing and you will have another quite tough climb there between 4 and 5, and that's where I think you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, but you can see there the shortest one, the brown one, even though, but you have those stairs coming down, as you said. So it's going to be really interesting how they get to control number 4, and then also whether Sweden and Denmark will regret their route choice there because of just how much extra climb they're having to do. We will see. See, it's not the steepest parts, not the steepest hill at this point.
I think it's about 20 meters extra climb if you go down and up. Quite significant.
Yeah, so they're approaching this 4th control. I think Sweden and Denmark about to face a lot of traffic. You can see Slovakia just kind of dropping back a little bit, and Hungary too. Here's
and you
Norway.
can see as well that Finland still far behind, still about a minute behind.
So the next job going up the stairs. And this is a really steep climb. This is the steepest climb of the whole competition. I pre-ran the women's course, so I didn't do this climb. So you'll have to tell me how brutal this climb is.
It is quite tough, and especially, I mean, you're at the top of the stairs, and then you turn to the right, you continue the uphill, you turn to the left again, you have to continue the uphill all the way up to the plateau. So it is quite tough, and you're very exposed to the sun there. Of course, I mean, it's doable if you're in the forest. You have steep uphills as well, but the speed is something different in a sprint. It's quite unusual that you have to push that much uphill in a sprint relay.
Of course, you can see them coming up here, and of course they've got different forkings here, so they could continue or turn back, depending on which forking they've got, but he's looking really good in the climb here, really strong. And Erik Langedal Breivik's going to want to make some amends from not a great
view here to the left over the city. I don't think he's going to enjoy the view that much, but it's a
looks to his
beautiful
right.
place.
He knows exactly where he's going to go next. You can see him running just by the buildings, under the trees there. And this climb has really spread them apart, I think, here. It's such a physical course, especially for the men, because they have this extra climb all the way up to the top of the city here. And in fact, you can see that building. They have lifts in this city to get you up the hill. No option, and as people kind of come out and emerge from that lift, that's not an option for the men running here, of course. Here's Norway, and Erik Langedal Breivik in the lead then at control number 6.
You can also say that Switzerland and France, I think they went in a different route, a bit more around on the top of the hill, which cost them a couple of seconds.
And this is really great work from Breivik here. He has absolutely made a huge gap here as the gap on these 9 grows to 10 seconds, and the Danish athlete Krogsgaard dropping into 10th place. Tim Robertson catching up a little bit of time here, looking strong on the hills. But Norway with a significant gap, 13 seconds. But the main athletes are Norway, Switzerland, France, Czechia still in there. Sweden are 22 seconds down.
And you could take, you could turn to the right as well to control 8, but then you have quite a steep downhill stairs. Sorry, say it again. Distance-wise, it's very similar. So I think the left one, the red one, is actually the better one.
So behind Tino Polsini in 2nd place, currently 13 seconds behind Norway. Here's France and Adrien Delaine. Dropping down off the steepest part of the course now. They'll have a couple of controls very close together. And they've really, after that very physical part of the course here, just come, it's not the, well, what it is, if you miss an alleyway, it's very easy to make a mistake.
Yeah.
If you stay focused, you're okay. It's spotting these little alleyways as well, some of which have been opened up. Very tricky.
It is, like Hedvig Valbjørn Jutesen said before, it is not as difficult as it was the last couple of days. Even though we have left-right route choices, they're not as decisive as yesterday or then in the individual sprint. So I think it's quite fair for a sprint relay. You don't lose very much time on one of the route choices. But yeah, you have to keep focus, and you shouldn't lose control over the map because it's hard to relocate in the small alleys here.
This is French Jonas from Hungary in 5th position. You can see the Czech, Jakub Glonek, actually decided not to run the knockout yesterday, wanted to save his legs for this race and try and put Czechia in a good position. But I'm so surprised at Norway and just how well Erik Lankadal Breivik has managed to make a gap here. This is really impressive. And he's lost, you know, nobody can follow him now. They will not see him at all as he comes through this control. Let's have a look at the gap. It was 13 seconds between Lankadal Breivik and Polsini, between Norway and Switzerland, and the gap is more. The gap is a lot more now. Here comes Polsini and Switzerland. Punching the control there, no problem. There's France still in contention. There's Czechia as well, still in contention. Look out for Sweden as well, because we have...
This is Sweden.
Through. That's Sweden. So I think we had Austria ahead of Sweden there, possibly. No, hang on, this is Austria coming. Oh, the Danish athlete just not quite seeing the control there and dropping down a little bit more here. Just lost a bit of our timing here at this control. Now we can see the athletes coming through. It was indeed Austria got ahead of Sweden and Gustav Runefors. And again, I mean, in the Swedish team as well, you think which it's so hard to make the selections, but Runefors had a good individual sprint. And teams take different approaches, don't they? Some teams select based on the selection races, and some of them wait to see the performances in the competition.
And I mean, you can argue that it's definitely an advantage if you haven't run the knockout sprint, if you go all the way to the final at least. But of course, if you go out in the quarterfinal, it might be an advantage as well to have been in the terrain here, to have been competing around the competition area. But
oh, here comes Henry McNulty and Finland with Akseli Ruohola. Okay, this is Norway, and our running cameras can barely keep up with Erik Lankadal Breivik. He's going to try and take a gap here. Norway have won 3 out of the last 4 sprint relays, but they've never taken the World Championship gold. That has gone to only 3 nations: Switzerland, Sweden and Denmark, back in the days when, you know, Maja Alm was running in that Danish team. There he is at control 14.
Yeah, you could also see that when you looked behind a bit, it seemed like the different forkings, they had a bit of a different outcome. Switzerland dropped a couple of seconds behind.
Here's France and Adrien Delaine, and this is a little bit closer now. I think so.
Don't have the times here.
It's Hungary, but we missed one of the others.
But as I said, I think that the forkings differed a bit. When it comes to time, I also have the feeling that Sweden is a bit closer again to the group.
Now a little bit more of a gap here.
Now they're splitting up to 15. France going another way compared to Norway and basically all the other teams.
So yeah, all the other teams, and Austria doing a great job here. Lukas Novak, they're going the flatter way.
When we were pre-running it, I started the same control here, 14 to 15, same time as Alexei Niemi, who is commentating for the Finnish TV. And we were quite surprised that it was quite much quicker, the route the big group took here.
Yeah, it's shorter. You do take the stairs, but it's a good route. So there is Polsini and Novak. Great work here from the Austrian.
Yeah,
Holds
let's see
12th.
if France drops behind here now.
Yeah, as we're with Gustav Runefors coming through to this control, and then the exit there as well. And this is obviously, which was quite interesting in the women's course. Do they go through the sports centre? Do they cut through here, in which case they'll take the stairs? Or do they go a different way? This is Runefors heading down the slope then here and through,
Norway.
and so too does Delaine. So they're going a very different way.
Norway going all the way around. Let's see if the others take the stairs. It was Hanna Lundberg who was the quickest one taking this. No, she went to the left, I think.
Yeah, I think she did.
The
way
same
that
as Sweden and
Runefors has
France.
gone. Yeah. But here is Norway through here at the last control, and Erik Langedal Breivik is going to hand over to the sprint world champion, Kasper Foster. Here comes from an odd direction, Polsini. Into second place, he's going to hand over to Fabian Abersold. They are the defending champions, Switzerland. And Delaine going to hand over to Baravaye, but they've dropped behind Austria and Hungary with the routes there. So it's Norway to hand over in the lead. Great work there from Langedal Breivik to get a gap, and now Kasper Foster won't be seen, I think, by the others. Switzerland into the second spot. A really great run from Polsini here. Abersold goes out next.
Yeah, but the gap now is only 10 seconds. It was more than 20 at one of the TV controls.
So then we have France here as well. And I've missed out which of the runners it was. Here comes Tim Robertson here from New Zealand, and here's Denmark. Japan still there, waiting for Finland as Tim Robertson hands over to Joe Lynch. And here is Czechia.
Yeah, he's suffering.
Suffering a lot then, Jakob Gonik. What happened to him? So it was Erik Langedal Breivik across the line first, then Tino Polsini from Switzerland, then we had Austria. A great work from Austria, pulling up from 12th, I think, into third. Then we had Hungary, then Sweden, then France, then Japan, with Denmark in the mix there, just behind France, and Czechia well off the back, just trying to check the gap.
And here we have Finland as well, with quite a big gap. Czechia, they did a mistake at control 12 at one of the forking. He followed the others to the wrong forking. That's where he lost the time.
Yeah, and here comes Finland, going to hand over to Thomas Heikkilä. Let's hear from the leading team, though. Let's hear it for Erik Langedal Breivik.
Here with Erik Langedal Breivik into the first position in the exchange. You look to be dancing through the course today. Did it feel that way?
It was feeling back old Eirik normal, so it was extremely satisfying. I was a bit really nervous since yesterday. Like Andrew performed really bad, so I was so nice to see that I picked up the map quite early. Just tried to calm down, pick the first control. I saw a lot of runners passing me actually in the first hilly part, but I was thinking, just take the route choices out of the park, and then you can start to chase you. And then I picked the controls really well. Made a choice that I felt strong in the second steep stair up to the platform on the top. So tried to hold back and then go hard over the top. And then I have planned all the next route choices, and I saw that it is not that decisive which route to go for, just to go clean, and I will go really clean all the way to the finish. Extremely exhausted in the end, but I think everybody behind me felt the same way.
I think so as well. Congratulations, Erik, on a great race.
Thank you.
Great to hear from the leaders there, and Erik Langedal Breivik getting an 11-second gap at the end of that leg, and now the men heading up the hill on the third leg.
Yeah, and I have the feeling that the gap isn't growing here between Norway, Hungary and Switzerland. I think this is really a part that Fabian Abersold likes, when it's a lot of uphill. A very physical course so far in the beginning.
Yeah, we'll see them through at control number 2 and find out exactly what that gap is. As we've got the likes of, Fabian Abersold, Janis Bonnek is running for Austria there, Zoltan Budoso, of course, a great runs from him over this whole weekend, 4th place in the individual sprint. He's going to be really wanting to do well here. There is Kasper Foster, though, not taking the best routes. And then here to the next, then we have a pack here. There's Fabian Abersold leading the way. Then we've got Zoltan Budoso,
Sweden,
Mattia Baravaye, and as for Sweden, it's Isaac von Krusenpuerna. Ooh,
good route here by Abersold.
Really nice. A lot of them will have prepared
Budoso.
this park.
Yeah.
And we'll get the time check at the next
I think
control.
they should be a bit closer now because Foster didn't take the fastest route, but it was a bit more than 10 seconds when he approached the control before.
So clearly having some trouble with our timing here, so apologies for that. There's France into third place, fourth place. So I think fourth and fifth there between these two athletes.
Interesting now, the route choice to 4. Remember that we had a couple of runners going all the way down and then others that kept height here.
Yannis Bonnek, he was right in with the pack there, but he's dropped behind here.
He didn't look as quick either, now punching the control and leaving it. I can tell you, Switzerland and Hungary, they seem to go all the way down. Norway and Sweden stay on height.
Thomas Krivda then from Czechia just slowing down here to get the route choice right. And these were the athletes that went down to right at the bottom. Who have we got here? This is Fabian Abersold.
And Budoso.
Budoso and Baravaye, I think, yeah.
I mean, it's very easy to execute. You don't have to read anything in between. But of course, yeah, as we mentioned before, it's about 20-25 meters more to climb. And
it's further as well. I mean, yes, you don't have the stairs
but
to go down.
I mean, I think it's
have
quicker.
The stairs to go down because you're going down.
Yeah, but I think
south.
it's quicker to execute because basically you don't have to do anything on the way. You can also prepare the next leg. But it costs energy. Abersold pushing really hard in this uphill. They will get a feedback very soon about the standings here when Kasper Fosser comes the other direction.
Yeah, Sweden dropping back a little bit, I think, for me. Is like von Krusenfuerner. They've got Caroline Olsen on the last leg. No, I think it's just a GPS error.
GPS.
Yeah.
Can't miss that one.
No. They've gone a bit too far south before on the GPS. So Kasper Fosser did have a 10-second lead then at control number 3 ahead of Fabian Abersold with Zoltan Budoso a couple of seconds behind, then another 5 back to Mathieu Baravaye. Isaac von Krusenfuerner was 20 seconds behind.
And of course now in this uphill, in this very steep uphill, they can see Kasper Fosser in front of them.
Thomas
kind of
Krivda has actually
rewarding.
called a little bit of time up on Fosser at control number 3.
Here we have Fosser in the picture in the uphill. You can see other athletes there in the uphill still.
Yeah, we'll catch him up with our running camera here. We've got 2 different forkings here that he can go, and obviously he's going to go the other way compared to Erik Langedahl Breivik. This is exactly what we'd expect here from Kasper Fosser, where he's made such a big difference for Norwegian sprint relay teams before, really trying to build out a gap. It was 11 seconds at the changeover.
It was 10 seconds at the TV control.
Yeah, so maintaining that. We've got Budoso just ahead then, I think, of Abersold, so Hungary ahead of Switzerland. And this is, I think this is Joe Lynch. No,
It's Fosser.
It is Fosser. It's Norway's new black kit. And he won't be looking at the view here.
So let's see now. He punched the TV control, so we're going to get times here at this one. Still no other punch. The gap was 10 seconds at TV1.
Yeah, it's grown again here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of the outcome from the different route choices. Fosser did less of climbing, and now they're 22 and 21 seconds behind.
Yeah, so 2 together with Budoso and Abersold, and then 2 together with Baravaye and von Krusenfuerner. Now we've got like a group of 5
that was a
here.
good jump there.
And I think it's very likely that our group of our medalists were going to come from this pack, I think. There we go, that's the difference. It was actually quicker for Switzerland to go the other route.
Yeah, but you would have needed to go all the way to the top of the other hill.
Yeah.
And we know as well that one of the controls here is a bit slower. It has been like this on the first leg as well.
So behind Abersold here, as we have Denmark and Czechia climbing places into 6th and 7th. They are losing time on the leaders though, but we're behind 3rd place Switzerland. Well, though Abersold might have got in just ahead of Rudoso here. They're going the same route down the hill. We can follow, see the likes of the stairs here, and then they've got to be prepared for when they dive back into the into here. And Abersold's good on the stairs because Rudoso's dropped back here.
Yeah, and he looked well prepared as well, Abersold. That's a good job so far.
But France and Sweden back in together. We've got Norway out in front and then a group of 4, basically, with Denmark, Czechia, Austria all chasing. So going through the small alleyways here very shortly at control number 8. They're just south-east of it at the moment. There's the control number 8. They continue under the underpass and take a left and then a left to get back towards control number 9. All the helpers here blowing their whistles to let everybody know that the runners are coming, and they are coming at speed here. That's the 9th control. And that group of 4 still with Abersold ahead. Oh, now splitting up slightly. Absolutely valid different route choices here. It's such a grid-like system of alleyways. And there is Foster at the control number 11.
A gap was 21 seconds at the last TV control compared to Scholte and Buidosho at that time, 22 seconds to Fabian Abersold. I think it's a bit more, probably. Foster looked really, really quick in the downhill. You could just see how attacking he was when he was jumping over the barrier. It's much more.
It is growing, but here they come, and with it, Sweden now ahead, then France, then we have Switzerland, then Hungary. Still that group of 4, about 30 seconds down. But yeah, you're right, the gap back to Norway is growing, and this is how we've seen so many of these recent sprint relays. One is the Norwegian men are just so good, and they get that gap. And then Pia Young-Vik has just had a fairly straightforward job. But of course, we've got Simona Abersold on the last leg for Switzerland. We kind of have these discussions like we used to have with Tove Alexanderson. How much can she catch up? How much do you think Simona Abersold can catch up?
And I mean, Abersold didn't go all the way to the final yesterday, so she doesn't have all the races in her legs.
And she was so much quicker than everybody else in the individual sprint, but it's not as tricky here, you know? So her really brilliant orienteering shone through in that individual sprint. It's not quite the same here.
And it's not as physical. The women's course is not as physical as the men's course, so I think the difference there in the uphill might not be as big.
They don't have that second big uphill, basically. It's just the first one. Although, I mean, the rest of the course isn't exactly flat either. But there is Kasper Foster struggling to keep up with him as we pass some people walking through the alleyways here. It is quite a part of the day when a lot of people are staying inside, out of the heat. And there we go, had the F control. Sweden there with the E control. Maybe a little bit further. Maybe making a mistake. Because you would expect him to go... No, I think no, sorry, the GPS is just behind. Yeah.
So Foster with a good route to control 15.
Absolutely. Here's the previous control, 14, and we see some of the chasers coming through. So gaps got a little bit closer here, and Sweden coming off the back slightly. Looks like a little jog there from von Krusenfuerner. He's got to the back of this pack of 4.
And will be interesting then to see the route choices from 15 to 16. I have the feeling that, I mean, we've seen both of the Swedish runners so far going to the left. Might be something they have prepared on beforehand. So it wouldn't surprise me if von Krusenfuerner would go to the left as well.
Yeah, the athletes try and like make their own courses. They try and guess. They'll have used so much data as well. You know, the coaches are going to be crunching the data of what is worth it in terms of stairs or no stairs, and they'll really will have looked very closely, thinking about where they could come back into this arena. No arena passage, of course, for this sprint relay. It's quite unusual. They spend the whole time out on the course doing the navigation. But there we can see, I think it is Switzerland still ahead there of France, then Sweden, then Hungary, and we've got 2 more controls still to go. Which way do they go here? Will they all go the same way?
So Norway went to the left on what was the quickest, at least on the first leg.
So these are the top athletes. Look at them, some of the best athletes in the world here, and they're all going to fight it out over the last leg. Here comes Norway and Kasper Fosse. Pia Young-Vik is waiting there. Medalist, of course, in both of the races today. A silver and a bronze medal. Can she round it out with a gold?
And in the group behind, we have Switzerland and France going to the left. We have Hungary and Sweden going to the right. So
let's see how that mixes up the group. But Norway, once again, into the lead here, as they've done so much, and it's such a familiar sight there for Pia Young-Vik, who will now race out of the start and try and do her best here. She will know what the gap is as the others come running in. Here's Switzerland, here's France, here's Sweden, and Hungary just a little bit further back with Zoltán Budoso. Going to hand over to Rita Marmarosi, a first-year senior. But there's Fabian Abasol racing Mattia Baravalle to see if he can get the handover to his sister Simona ahead of Cécile Calandri, and he does there, handing over to his sister. There's Calandri as well, and a little bit further back, here comes Isaac von Krusenfeld. Good job from him, handing over to Caroline Olsen. And Rita Marmarosi, the least experienced of these last leg runners, but she's had so many good performances as a junior. What can she do here? 43 seconds down.
Actually, the group chasing Kasper Fosse is able to pick 4 seconds from TV3 to the finish. So they turned that trend around a little bit, at least, on the second part of the course. Here we have Denmark and Czechia on the way in.
So Denmark here going to hand over to Andreas Bok-Bjornsson's done a pretty good job here climbing some places. He's going to hand over to Malin Egevic Christiansen, and Thomas Krivda from Czechia is going to hand over to the new world champion in the knockouts, Teresa Janashikova. She was Janashikova, she's now Retourier. And again, Malin and Teresa, both really, really quick runners. We'll see whether they're going to able to catch any place. Well, it's going to be such a big ask for them to catch places. Look, 125 and 128 behind. Great to see New Zealand here in the top 10. Handing over to Penelope Salmon for the last leg. Austria is next after a fantastic second leg for them. And Finland we have here for Maija Sienoja to hand over 155 down. They've lost time on every leg. Climbed up some places here for Finland into 10th place.
Here we have the comparison from where we have Norway in the lead, and then the chasing group behind with Switzerland that have the A control. France and Sweden with the B control. So Switzerland has to run around that building towards the A control.
Okay, I think we're going to get another interview here from the leading team.
And here with Kasper Fosse, Norway's leading. You extended the gap from 10 to almost 30 seconds. Kasper, your thoughts on your race?
Yeah, I didn't know how much I had going out, but sometimes I could see the runners behind me on coming into the controls, and yeah, it felt like like my routes were good, and yeah, I got really tired on the last part in the Old Town here, but felt like I managed to do what I have to do, and which is like really be accurate with my map reading and not do any mistakes, so I'm happy.
You should be, Kasper. Thank you.
Thank you.
And on the screen you can see a small route choice mistake here by Sweden. Not sure, I mean, we have seen that before. Norway then turned back. It's not the best exit if you go there. this actually, I was a bit surprised by the mapping here because
Yeah,
this
this
chairs
cafe was in the
and
way,
the
it's not
cafe,
marked.
they're not marked on the map. Usually they are.
So Simona Aebersold, we've seen her in the past few sprint relays really working hard here as Caroline Olsen's kind of got back into the group with France. There wasn't too much time lost there. Simona Aebersold, on the last few sprint relays, she's gone out behind. She's trying to catch up, and she's used a lot of energy to catch up in a very impressive amount of time. And then she's maybe struggled a little bit in the latter stages. I wonder if she's going to race it slightly differently here. She's maybe not as far behind, but
I
of
mean,
course
she
they
was
want the win.
28 seconds behind, so she has to be pushing really, really hard. It will be very interesting to see how big the gap is at control 3, because if it's around 20 still, it will be very difficult. But if it's around 15, I think, well, then it's quite open, because then she might spot the run in front of her every now and then. And of course, that has an impact on and the motivation, and like maybe on the last bit of energy you can take into the race here.
So Rita Maramosi climbing the stairs there for Hungary. You can see she's taking quite big strides, and she's already dropped behind that group then, so into 5th place. Here comes the leader. Here's Pia Young-Vik climbing up here. Will she get the route choice right?
It's not the quickest one.
But she might lose about 5 seconds here. We'll get the time check at the next control. But already here is Simona Aebersold. Will she go the right way? Just checking the routes here. They've geeked this a lot. Yeah. No, the same way then as Pia Young-Vik. And we're going to get the time check at the next control. Here's the next athletes, and already, so Caroline Olsen's overtaken Cécile Calandri here. But they've already done the big climb now. That is the most of the climb done. Pia Young-Vik's punched that control. All of them going down here. It's a longer way.
And the gap at the changeover, 28 seconds.
And now it's 13.
It's much less. It's less than those 15 seconds I said. My guess would be, if it continues like this, that she will get in contact. But then, of course, it's the question: how much energy does she have left in the very end of the course?
Yeah, it's going to get a bit like a knockout here. Switzerland, the defending champions, they've won it twice before. 10 years apart, will they get another gold here today?
I think actually that Switzerland now in the downhill can see Pia Young-Vik ahead of her. Should be possible.
Yeah, and you can see the gap that she's going to, go into the next control.
And I mean, she knows very much about the gap she had at the changeover. She knows that it was almost half a minute and that it's around 10 seconds or 12 seconds at the moment.
Here she is. Here is Switzerland. Simona Aebersold coming into the next control. You can see the others going a different way here. Was that Pia Young-Vik, or was it
it looks on the
Olsen?
GPS as if they had the same route, but
Czechia has made a really good start and caught up on the lead.
I think it was Sweden we saw.
I think it was. So now going up towards the 5th control. The route choice here, and Simona Aebersold taking the flatter route choice here. Then she will descend into the control. She's going to go through a funicular railway station here. You can see the railway line marked here. But Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, they're all closing back up here on the last leg of this sprint relay here at the World Orienteering Championships 2026 around the old town streets of Geneva. That's the funicular railway that you can see where the train passes itself, and the gap is
not big anymore.
Basically closed here.
And it will be a difficult situation for Pia Young-Vik now, because this gap disappeared quickly on the first third of the course.
Caroline Olsen flying down the street here. There's this section that's like in the middle where it's not quite steps. It's kind of a bit of a slope, but you can see the two athletes ahead.
Switzerland can see Pia Young-Vik, so can Caroline Olsen.
And yeah, already this last leg of this relay has got super exciting, because you've got those 3 teams. You've got Norway, Switzerland and Sweden. How many times we're talking about those 2 teams? You've got Calandri and France in there too. And yeah, I mean, Finland a long way behind, back in 10th place with a difficult first leg for them, and we can see there is the catch.
Look at this, she is in contact now.
Yeah, as they go into the tricky section here, they've got a forking, they've got a common control, and then they've got a forking. And now that is the sound that Pia Youngvik did not want to hear.
Yeah, look at that. Absol so much quicker,
She's just
attacking
gonna fly
directly.
past her here.
Of course, those are mental games as well, proving directly I'm here. Don't
I'm here.
hesitate.
Yeah, I'm here, I'm navigating well, I'm faster, I've got the legs here.
I'm here and
of course,
goodbye.
Pia Youngvik did run the final yesterday, and now, of course, she's going to want to stay super, super close to her here.
There is a difference now in the forkings.
And do they have the same forking here? Olsen has a different one.
They
And Abersold and Vic, I think, have the same one, that they disappeared off into the same direction anyway.
have the same one, yeah. The C one. They have different than the last forking.
Yeah, there's still one more forking to go. As you can see, C and D, France has C as well. And actually, Czechia and Denmark doing a great job, especially Retourier here on the last leg for Czechia, catching back up here some time on Hungary at least. I mean, it's too far behind the top three. But
Dietrikova for Czechia.
of course it is. Well, Dietrikova is also doing a very, very good job.
And
on this last
Retourier
leg.
did a good job as well on the first leg.
Oh, yeah. I'm so used to seeing Teresa Retourier on the last leg. Of course, they changed it up at the last round of the World Cup, where Czechia took second place.
It's going to be interesting now at Control 8. We don't really know, we couldn't really follow if there are any bigger differences in these forkings. I mean, it can differ 5 to 7 seconds.
Oh,
And,
just
there's
got
a
to check.
hesitation.
Yeah, you do have to go down there.
It can differ a couple of seconds, so there would be a chance now for Sweden to get back, if it's the shorter option, of course.
So she's racing up north, up the alleyway between east of the 8th control and the 9th control. She's got to go past two alleys she can't go down and then take the next left. Here she goes, left into the control. And I think they're going to get back very, very close. We've got a camera at control 9, so that's where we will bring you the what it's looking like here.
Switzerland ahead of Norway and then Sweden.
I think so. Here they come.
And it
Here's
is a gap now.
Abersold. It is absolutely a gap. Here's Pia Youngvik from Norway in silver medal position.
Sweden. How big is the gap down to Sweden? It's about 7-8 seconds from Norway to Sweden. Still about the third of the race left here. That was a dangerous one, dangerous turn.
Yeah, but behind our leaders, and Abersold has done her job. The rest of the team did enough to keep Simona in contention. And a bit of a dropping down here for me for France. Calandri not being able to keep with the pace, and it looks like France, and barring a huge mistake, are going to be unable to challenge for the medals today. They've not got a medal yet in a sprint relay. I thought this might have been enough to be their day, as Mara Morosi comes through that 9th control. So Simona Abersold out here on the tourist street. She'll take a right probably here, a sharp right, and 5 seconds ahead of Pia Youngvik. She's not going to want to leave it down to a sprint finish at all. You absolutely saw a super decisive pass. She knows she's full of confidence after her success from the sprint relay. And she knows she's done a good job at different forkings though here.
Different route choices as well, executed by Sweden and Norway.
And then after these controls, they'll be all back together. No more gaffles, no more forkings. Everybody's got the same controls here.
And it looks very good for Switzerland now. I have the feeling that she's in a good flow, and she is physically the strongest of the three, still in the medal fight. But we still have a route choice then from 12 to 13. That can differ a couple of seconds. And then from 13 to 14 as well.
Yeah, I think 12 to 13 is quite easy to see. I would expect them all to go the same way. But 13 to 14 is where we've seen a lot of differences here.
So
Here's
it
the 12th
would be
control.
the quickest to go to the right here. Yeah.
Yep, easy peasy, not up the hill, staying on the flat. This is kind of a similar concept to what we've had previously. The gap was 5 seconds.
And it's
now
Caroline
more.
Olsson first. No,
It is
Sweden.
ahead of Norway.
And
Just
she's
stopping
hesitating.
here.
And now I think for Olsson, it's a good tactic now to take the back. She knows that she's very strong in the last meters. I don't think she will
Do you think
take
that
the
was
lead.
a tactical weight?
A bit, yeah. Because I don't think she wanted to decide the route here. She will stay together with behind Pia Youngvik and then attack at the last control.
I feel like she could get ahead here, but she's not going to. But that last control is so decisive in terms of route choice, though. We'll see whether they split up. But it looks so comfortable for Switzerland here to maintain their lead. You know, of course, we always want to count them in the favourites, but Norway have won 3 of the last 4 sprint relays. But the team just did their job well enough to be not too far behind to hand over to Simona. And then, I mean, she's just done a fantastic job. Right, watch these two, because Simona Aebersold has already been through this point, and we want to see if they split up coming out of this control.
I would be very surprised if they would split up.
But
Now she
Olsen's
lets
got
Olsson
ahead.
in front.
There's a game of cat and mouse here between these two athletes, and maybe
Now
Pia
it's
Youngvik
interesting.
wants to go a different way
What's
here.
Olsson doing? Is she really? Yeah, she's taking. Oh, she has it. You could see that Youngvik was.
Oh, they both
prepared,
made a mistake though. There's a barrier there where there wasn't previously. And they've got to go through here. A little bit of a nervous
And now
moment
I
here
see-
between the silver and the
Oh,
bronze.
they're splitting up. Didn't see that one coming.
So Pia Youngvik will take the higher routes then here. And she's got to do a little bit of climbing. She could still take the stairs.
But very soon we're gonna have Switzerland at the last
Why is she
control.
still going up?
The second last control. She's going all the way around the Switzerland.
But the Swiss team are waiting then here at the finish for Simona Aebersold. A spectacular performance. What a last leg. I mean, she's done it so many times this season. Had a fantastic last leg, but the whole team hasn't quite come together to make it work. She's done a great job catching up, but this is where it really matters for Simona Aebersold. She's done it here. She's caught up on Norway, and there is Sweden
Sweden
coming
will
in
be
for silver
seconds.
medal position. So many times we're seeing Switzerland and Sweden on the top, and it is Switzerland here defending their title with a fantastic run there from Simona Aebersold on the last leg.
A very good run by Simona Aebersold. I mean, both physically and technically almost perfect. And I have to say, Caroline Olsson did a great job here as well. I thought she would just be playing it tactically and keep behind and then try to beat Pia Youngvik in the last meters. But you could feel that Pia Youngvik struggles physically compared to the others. But a very good route choice as well by Sweden to the last control. And Norway, who is kind of dominating the relay all the way to the last leg. With a tough day here for Pia Youngvik.
Do you think Norway will be disappointed with that bronze medal?
Well, Pia Youngvik will be, the others won't show it.
Yes, yeah, they'll be supportive of her as France's Cécile Calandry comes through, dropped a place on that last leg. Sweden and Caroline Olsson picking up to there. I think they're maybe just looking at the last leg there, and what a great result here from Hungary.
And the thing with Hungary is they're gonna have a strong team the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, because it's a very young team they have here.
If they can progress through as seniors, they've had promise previously, they haven't always progressed. But yeah, what a great result for Hungary into 5th spot. We're looking for Czechia and Denmark to come through next, but great congratulations amongst the whole team here. But yeah, it was solid from the first 3 runners, and they put her into contention. A good run here from Lucy Dietrichova, actually, I think maybe not catching time on the leaders, but catching places certainly, overtaking Denmark on this last leg. Really great run there from the youngster to come into 6th place for Czechia. They really had trouble on the second leg with going to the wrong forking at control number 12. I was expecting Czechia to be a little bit further up, but they made mistakes there on the second leg. Denmark look like they're coming in to be our next finishers, with the men just not being quite as good as the women here on the Danish team. Of course, coming through in 2nd place after the first leg Malin Egevind Christiansen went out really close together with, in fact, went out ahead of Czechia. So a surprise for me that she's dropped a place here. But she's clearly into 7th position for Denmark. Again, just outside of the top 6. And crossing the line here into 7th position. But I mean, a surprise maybe for me that Norway and Pia Youngvik was maybe not able to do better. But when you consider actually both the Sweden and Norwegian teams both had a finalist from the knockout on the last leg previously.
I mean, for me, it's surprising that the difference is so big. I mean, you send out Simona Abersol, she kind of rested in the final a bit, and that she would be quicker isn't a surprise, but that she would pick half a minute that quickly, that's a surprise to me.
This is a really nice last leg here from Penelope Salmon to maintain the kind of position here. She's going to come in ahead of Austria as well. This is really nice running together from the whole New Zealand team, and she crosses into 8th place. Fantastic work, and Austria there into 9th place. I think you can see Maja Cianoja coming into 10th place next. And they have lost time kind of consistently, including here on this last leg for Finland, because they went out 1:55 down, and now we're down. So she's lost 2 minutes on this leg compared to the leaders, and actually been overtaken there by Austria and New Zealand. So a very disappointing day for Finland, to be honest. I expected them to do much, much better than that.
Yeah, and this is the replay from the last leg. You can see Norway with a very big lead here. It was 28 seconds, and you can see that Abersol taking the lead in this chasing group from the very first meter. She's attacking a lot here. First control with the forking. Small mistake here by Sweden. I think it was out from control 1 to control 2. Not the quickest exit. And then I think the difference really was in this physical parts when we had the uphill, because you could see that Pia Youngvik isn't as quick as Abersol. I thought here it would be kind of a bit of a tactical game as well for Pia Youngvik, that she tries to save a bit of energy to keep her mind clear, to be able to read the map and stay focused. But she couldn't really turn up the speed then afterwards here from control 3. And of course, once Simona Abersol at this place sees Pia Youngvik in front of her, like everything is just going her way. She feels great. Of course, suddenly the legs start to feel better as well. And it's such a motivational boost to see the runner in front of you when you start half a minute behind after like 4 controls in on a sprint. And then here already, I mean, then she closes the gap from like 12 seconds to that she's really in contact on about 2 or 3 controls. Very, very strong. And you could see as well, when she caught Pia Youngvik, she didn't stay behind for 1 second. She just overtook her and wanted to show her, I'm here, I'm stronger today. And here at this place, there was still a gap between Sweden and Norway. I had a feeling that might not have been the best execution here by Olsen, but I think it was just the GPS that wasn't very accurate. Then here we already had a gap from Switzerland to the others. Norway, Sweden together to control 13. Then they have this mistake exiting, run into a barrier. First I thought that Pia Youngvik might have the momentum when she attacked at control 13, but then much better route by Caroline Olsson to control 14, and then no chance, of course, to come back into the fight for silver.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see maybe the Swedish team prepared that route choice. They've pretty much all done it, not quite for Krusenstjerna, but all the others. Italy into 15th place then, and I should give a shout out to Japan, who've come 12th here. Fantastic work. And then we have confirmation of the final result. Switzerland, in the end, it was only 20 seconds ahead of Sweden, with Norway taking the bronze medal position. Quite decent gaps in the end, no need for a sprint finish. Great to see New Zealand there in at 8th place. Finland into 10th, as I mentioned, a disappointment for them. We've just had 7 teams finish already with Spain just coming into the finish. But we're soon going to hear from our leading team then, our winning team, our gold medal winning team here at these World Championships for Switzerland. Let's hear from the full team then today.
And here with the world champions from Switzerland. Congratulations, guys. Let's start with you, Natalia. Keeping close with the lead on your first course?
Sorry, Norma.
Oh, yeah. What was that? So your tactics, you seem to stay close to the lead on your first leg.
Yeah, my tactic was just like to keep going, don't lose first. Try to lead, but I didn't lead, unfortunately. But I was always in a group and I could control it. I just did one route choice in the end, but I saw they are close, and it's everything is we are in a game.
And then it was your turn, Tino. You have this leg where Eirik Breivik runs away and creates the gap. What was that like running behind him?
Behind Eirik, I was really trying to focus only on myself, so I wasn't trying to catch him or close the gap because I know I have to just get control after control, and of course it's forking. So I'm really glad how I raced, just looking at myself, and in the end the gap was really small, so I think it was a good second leg.
And then the third leg, where Norway actually breaks even further away with Kasper. You get to run that, keeping Switzerland in second position, Fabian. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, the goal was to keep Kasper as close as possible. I know that I can't keep him at the same distance if he doesn't do mistakes. So yeah, my goal was to just do my thing and be really controlled. And also when the others came from behind and pushed past me, they all did mistakes. Yeah, and I didn't. I stayed in control. Did a technically perfect race. Maybe could have been a bit faster, but yeah, I think in the end. Normally I'm quite hot-headed and always really on the limit with my orienteering, and today it was from A to Z completely controlled. So I'm really happy with that, and I knew I can lose some time because we have Simona in the end, and that's always really nice.
You did, yeah, and I actually already made questions for Norway for this win interview, but you wanted it differently, Simona. Catching up with Pia and yeah, really commanding performance. What were your thoughts going through that fourth leg and chasing Pia?
Well, I knew that everything was possible no matter the situation. I knew that the terrain was one of my favorite sprint terrains. Really technical, really many corners, and you have to be far ahead in map reading in order to come into some kind of flow. And then it went into the park, and I knew that I knew it by heart. And that was a really nice feeling, just cruising through the park, and then I already saw Pia before the park, and and just told myself also before the start that when I catch up with people, then I have to stay calm and not wanting too much at once, and it worked really well until the end. I was a bit worried up there when there was a route choice to the third last control. I was really worried that I came up to control and then there were teams coming from another direction. But yeah, I'm just so happy that I could finish what the team prepared so well.
You work so well together today. Congratulations once again, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Team Switzerland ultimately defending their title, but they've not had such a great run of form, you know, in the World Cups and things like that. You know, they won the World Cup in Genoa 24, they won the World Champs, but actually since then, over the last couple of years, they haven't been on the top of the podium. But they made it work when it mattered, and I think actually a really big key of that was Fabian Absold, where he's been I was about to say he's been a weak link, but he has messed up before, and that was his own admission there, that he's run a little bit too close to the wire, he's made mistakes, and he actually put in the right tactics today.
Yeah, I mean, we have been talking about him in the World Cup as well, and I have the feeling always that it will happen once, that he will explode and he will get a very good result, maybe win the race even. But yeah, you're right. Usually he has one controller. I mean, he says it himself, I'm hot-headed sometimes, and that's a feeling as well. He wants too much, and I think the coaches, they really succeeded in keeping him a bit more to the ground and not giving the feeling that he has to close any gap at all. He trusts in his sister, of course, and he did a very good job. And then coming back to what you said about that the Swiss team didn't win that many competitions last year. Yes, that's right, but I also think that generally the sprint relay is much closer of a competition compared to what it was a couple of years ago. Then we always had Switzerland or Sweden in the top. Now we have Norway there as well. We have Czechia that can compete for top results. France, Hungary now in the fight up there. We can see at the results from the individual sprint and suddenly see that Australia has 2 runners in the top 10 in the men's race. So everything is much closer. That's my feeling. And of course, then it's also harder to win relays. But now, I mean, do you need to win the World Cup races when you can win the World Championship? So be there when it counts.
Yeah, and you know, they'll have had such a big target on this race, years of work kind of being put into this situation in terms of the geeking. And really this relay, after leg 1, it was very close together. We had those 9 teams across 13 seconds where we'd already kind of lost Finland. After leg 2, that gap just got a little bit smaller, fewer athletes together. And then with Breivik reading so good up the hill, getting a little bit of a gap. Czechia lost time on the forking, going to the wrong one, and then losing a lot of time, dropping back as well. Fossa made a great advantage. And let's have a look at then 2 wins for Switzerland, both with Simona Abersold there. Norway, a lot of medals for Norway, including 2 bronzes. Great to see 2 medals for France and for Czechia. And the number of different nations, I think, actually winning medals today is
we don't have
really
one
good.
country with like 5 gold medals or anything. It's not. Didn't have anyone dominating that much, except for Guillaume Verhoeven, who was not competing today in the sprint relay, but otherwise it was quite equal also when it comes to the nations. So that's a good trend in orienteering, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting prepared for our flower ceremony now. And I can see all the athletes basically lining up right next to us as we can get ready then for our flower ceremony. The athletes will emerge onto the stage. We don't actually award the medals yet, and that's because you kind of have to wait for process and all of that kind of thing. But it's nice to have a little celebration on the broadcast in front of the crowd, all of that kind of thing as well. And the athletes will gather together on the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the flower
and we
ceremony.
can present the flowers then to some very sweaty athletes. This has been such a warm, a hot World Championships. Cooling and everything is a big challenge for some of these athletes. You see Fabian Abersold basically still sweating and on the interview there.
Yeah, usually it takes about an hour until you stop sweating here in Genoa.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and all of the fans will come. They kind of been sitting in the shadows here, and they're coming now into the sunshine to celebrate the teams here. So the bronze medal today goes to Norway. Victoria Haystead Bjørnsen, Erik Langedal Breivik, Kasper Harlem Foster, and Per Young Vik will take the bronze medal today. They were in the lead, but it was not quite big enough for Per Young Vik to hold on today.
I have to say, I mean, she did an okay race. She didn't miss it. I think she just didn't have the physicality today to do it. So you can't really complain. I think it would be much harder for her and for the team if she would have done a stupid mistake and a route choice or at the control in the very end of the course.
Yeah, Sweden here just always in and amongst the top teams the whole way round. And great work from Caroline Olsen to get her another medal, basically, for Caroline Olsen from Sweden, and making up maybe for their missed punch of a couple of years ago. So 2 silvers for the team of Hannah Berry, Gustav Brunefors, Isa von Christenfona and Caroline Olsen. But the biggest cheer will come from the Swiss fans today, as it's so nice to win together as a team. You can really see that. Natalia Gempeler, Tino Polsini, Fabian and Simona Abersold, the 2 siblings there on the last 2 legs of this relay. And, you know, Natalia Gempeler just kept them in amongst the mix. Polsini looked really good, kind of taking them into a second position. And then Fabian Abersold not making any mistakes for him. And the gap was about 30 seconds that Simona Abersold had to chase. She did that by the third control, and then she ran away from Pia Youngvik, away from Norway. And they're rewarded with another world title for Switzerland. Putting it together when it really matters after not being on the top of the podium, not being the best team on the last few World Cup rounds in the last few years. Back at the top then, this team from Switzerland. And what a, that pretty much brings us to the end then of these World Orienteering Championships. What a championships it's been, Jonas.
Yeah, it's been great. I want to just flowers. The flower bouquet just fell in many parts. They didn't keep together at all. So no, to summarize, first of all, I would like to highlight Alessio Tenani, who did a great job here. He was the course planner in all of the competitions, and well, maybe I can say that the semi-final in the knockout sprint was a bit over the top at this route choice multi-level. It was fun for us to watch, fun for everyone to watch, but it was a difficult leg. Otherwise, I think it was great orienteering. We didn't have any competitions that felt boring or anything, and we had great performances by the runners as well. I really like this kind of sprint orienteering. It's great to follow from the start to the finish, and we also have some new names up there now among the really big names. Guillaume Verhove did a great job for France, taking 2 medals, and also Cooper Hordley from Australia, who did a great performance, kind of a surprise in the knockout sprint. So I think it was everything we expected and wished for.
Yeah, I mean, Alessio Tenani, one of the course planners, said he did not want to make it boring, and he definitely achieved in that aim that he had for these competitions. So we hope you've enjoyed watching all the races. We've still got a couple more World Cups. We turn to the Forest fans. It's the moment you've been waiting for as the season turns back to the Forest very soon with World Cups and checking the European Championships in Lithuania. But we hope you've enjoyed watching these races from Italy over the last few days and enjoyed watching the amazing racing here at these World Championships. We'll be back soon with more from the International Orienteering Federation. We'll see you soon.
See you soon again.
Even romantic, like me, I understand.